Don't sink.
No, this is approaching
Don't
the
sink.
goddamn left.